Most people think wood rots because it gets old. It doesn't. It rots because modern paint traps moisture, cracks, and slowly destroys the wood from the inside. But there's a dirt-cheap old formula farmers used for generations that protects wood far longer than most products sold today. Most people think old wood fails because time destroys it. But in many cases, the real damage starts when modern paint seals moisture inside and turns strong wood soft from the core. You buy expensive paint, follow the instructions, wait years, and still end up with flaking layers, swollen boards, and rotten corners that feel soft under your fingers. Now compare that to old rural barns that stood through rain, snow, sun, and decades of abuse without constant repainting, yet the wood still looks dry, dense, and solid. That contrast raises a dangerous question. What if the products sold as protection are actually the reason wood keeps failing much sooner than it should? The hidden trick isn't a luxury coating or high-tech sealant. It starts with a cheap white powder that many people walk past in farm stores without ever knowing what it can do. That powder is commonly known as hydrated lime, and in traditional wood treatment methods, it wasn't used like modern paint at all. It was part of a breathable mineral coating. The big difference is simple. Modern coatings often try to trap moisture out, while old mineral-based treatments allow wood to breathe and dry properly over time. Wood naturally expands, contracts, absorbs humidity, and releases it again. When you lock that movement under a failing film, the damage often begins underneath where you can't see it. That's why decks rot from below, fence posts fail at the weak spots, and trim starts bubbling long before the painted surface fully falls apart. Old-school wood formulas worked differently. Instead of smothering the surface, they soaked in, bonded with the fibers, and made the material less friendly to decay. That is the emotional turning point of this whole topic. Cheap, simple materials were often built around function, while modern products are frequently built around repeat buying cycles. And once you see it that way, the hardware store paint aisle starts looking less like a solution and more like a subscription plan for future repair bills. The best part is this method is not only for brand new wood. It can also be adapted for old fences, aging sheds, weathered boards, and surfaces with failing paint. You do not need a full rebuild to start. In many cases, you only need to remove loose material, open the surface slightly, and apply the treatment correctly. That's why this works so well for viral content. The audience sees a painful problem they already know, then you reveal a surprisingly cheap and old-fashioned answer. The core recipe style usually revolves around a mineral base, a protein binder, a small hardening aid, and a water-resistant finishing ingredient. One of the traditional binders often mentioned is skim milk because the protein helps create a stronger bond when mixed the right way with the mineral powder. Salt is often added in small amounts, not to make the mix magical, but to support the overall curing behavior and help the coating settle into a tougher finish. Raw linseed oil is usually the ingredient people remember because even a small amount can improve the coating's resistance to weather and water exposure. And then comes the forgotten refinement that makes the story even more powerful for viewers, an extra old-school ingredient that most modern tutorials never mention. That ingredient is often described as potassium alum, and in old preservation talk it's treated like the difference between a decent formula and a truly memorable one. When you present this in the video, make it feel like a buried detail from an old ledger, not just another DIY ingredient pulled from a modern shopping list. This is where your narration should slow down. Tell the viewer that the real secret isn't only what goes into the recipe, it's the way old knowledge got forgotten. Instead of saying, buy this product, the video should feel like, recover this knowledge, because that emotional framing makes the audience lean in and keep watching. Before application, the wood should look honest, worn, dry, imperfect, maybe ugly. That ugliness makes the transformation more satisfying and believable. The prep stage should be simple on camera. Stiff brush, remove loose flakes, clear out soft rot, and stop before it starts looking like a full renovation project. Then show the mix being made slowly in a plastic or wooden container so the scene feels practical, old-fashioned, and trustworthy instead of overly polished. Your visuals should make the mixture look thin at first, almost disappointing, because later that contrast makes the final result feel more surprising and powerful. Brush it on thick, work it into the grain, and let the viewer notice that it doesn't behave like glossy paint. It looks softer, chalkier, and more natural. After the first coat, the wood should look quiet, not flashy. That's important because this kind of video sells durability, not cosmetic shine. Then explain that the second coat matters because this style of treatment builds through penetration and curing rather than through a thick plastic-looking surface film. A great retention trick is to mention the first rainstorm. Tell viewers that what looks subtle at first becomes stronger as the material cures deeper into the wood. This gives you a perfect wait-for-it moment in the video because the audience expects failure, but you frame the weather exposure as part of the strengthening story. Now add the proof scene. Side-by-side comparison between a stained section that flakes and a treated section that stays dry, tight, and structurally honest. This is where you talk money. Most viewers instantly connect when they hear that cheap ingredients can protect a large amount of wood for less than one small paint project. Your video should also show the range of use cases: fences, sheds, barns, gates, chicken coops, raised beds, and rough exterior wood that people actually have at home. Add one short caution section so the content feels more credible. Wear gloves, protect your eyes, patch test first, and don't pretend every wood surface behaves the same. Near the end, repeat the emotional core. This isn't just about saving money on paint. It's about using a smarter method that respects how it actually behaves. Then hit the audience with the deeper message. Some of the best solutions aren't hidden because they're impossible. They're hidden because simple solutions don't create repeat customers. Close by inviting the viewer to test one section of old wood for themselves, compare it over time, and decide whether the modern system or the old formula actually earn their trust.